Moving forward, we would now like to introduce Mr. Sudarshan Sir as our last global leader who will be speaking about team building. PDRR Sudarshan Srivasan Sir was the DRR in the year 1997-98 with the district team working wonders. As the founder and CEO of Prognosis Marcom Service, he attributes his success in life to the foundation of management and leadership skills that the Rotaract has given us. He was Mr. Raila in the year 1990. Also, he has won many awards for his recognitions in association with the movement. A communication and marketing professional for about 3 decades of rich experience across various marketing disciplines. Sudarshan Sir has also been associated as a board member and academic advisor with top 10B schools and institutes, helping them shape their industry relevant curriculum. As a corporate trainer, he has trained blue chip companies and senior managers. Even though he's such a busy personality, he takes his time out of his busy schedule for wonderful hobbies. His wonderful hobbies include listening Indian classic music, reading management related books, and blogging. Also, I would like to share Sudarshan Sir was DRR when our mentor Rotarian Gul Advani Sir was the president of Rotaract Club of Ulhasnagar, and he fondly called you Subbu. So, we would like to give a gracious welcome to you, Subbu Sir.
Thank you. I hope I'm being heard.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay. Thank you so much. It feels wonderful coming back to a movement like Rotaract. And also, feels even more wonderful because I'm wearing a tie. I think after about a year or so. Okay. So, wearing a tie was a great excuse for me. So, you should say that that was the motivation for me that I will get to wear a tie today. Okay. So, it's something that of just saying that, a formal kind of a thing that one would go by. Well, 1989 Raila, I had attended as a participant. Okay, I was in Sathe College that time, and it was a Raila that happened in at that time jungles of Bombay called Panvel, now concrete jungle. Okay, so it was a 3 day Raila, and we had to pitch our own tent. There were some amazing team activities that happened, and you will not believe it that people who lived in the tent that time, we still are in touch with each other. So that's the bond of a Raila. So whatever we did so many years back, we still are kind of in touch with each other. Okay. Also talking about Rotaract, I mean, I have had about 10, 11 years of career in Rotaract. My final year was when I was DRR. Uh, Today, I have about 25 to 30 friends from Rotaract who I am regularly in touch with. And when I say regularly in touch with, is when we meet over the weekends. And they are not members from our club. Okay, they are members from across the movement. Like Lalit Manek is one of the person that I always make it a point when I am there near APMC site to visit him. Okay, so without getting further, let me get into the topic, and I would require a screen sharing. Has there been a screen sharing enabled? Has a screen sharing been enabled?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. You're all able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this e-Raila gives me a great opportunity to actually address a global audience, and also a great opportunity to have uh, sat through the entire Raila, because I sat through yesterday's sessions also, and I sat through today's sessions also. Ideally, had it been a physical Raila, I would have said that, okay, fine, I shall reach by about 6:30 p.m. Okay, I'll finish my session by whatever time. I wouldn't have taken the trouble of going through earlier sessions, conducted my session in a physical kind of a scenario, and gone ahead. So here we are to talk about the topic of today, which is about team building. Okay, okay. So a group of people come together and dedicate themselves to a common goal. Incredible things are possible. Okay, so that's the definition of a team that we will start with. And of course, as we go by, we shall look at how is it applicable to leaders per se. Okay, so I shall come to the second and the most exciting part of team building, and this is where we call forming, storming, norming, performing, adjourning. So a team goes through the following kind of stages, and I'm sure when you have seen these stages in Rotrack, okay, you have seen these stages, but you don't know that you have seen the stages formally. Okay, so there is a project, so there is a new project chairperson who is elected or selected. That project chairperson forms his team. Okay, they are brainstorming ideas, they are norming rules, they are performing the project, and after they perform the project, they are now getting into celebrating and dismantling the team because we get back to our original team. Okay, such kind of things have been brilliant for us in Protract as a learning. And I must share this with you. I think an earlier speaker said that Protract is the best management school. Okay, having taught at management institutes, and this is something that I had as a discussion. One of my friend also happened to say this. He said he was a Protractor, his younger brother was not. Said, yeah, I wish my younger brother also could have joined Protract because he seems to get too much of anxiety pangs. Okay, so in road track you get to deal with crisis, you get to deal with so many situations that it almost gets normal for you. Whereas in real life, I can still give you a case study where I say that, okay, here is a situation. I keep a gun on your head and I'm going to ask you for all the money inside your pocket. Okay, what will you do? I'm sure we are laughing inside. But when this actually happens to you and when there is a gun put on your head, how would you react? Okay, perhaps road track gives you a lot of those situations when there is a real gun on your head and when you actually react. Okay, so that's with regard to the team. Uh, Now I'm going to come to a very cliched thing that you've all heard of or you'll have seen. Together, everyone achieves more. Okay, I'm sure all of you have heard of this thing of together, everyone achieves more. Now, the surprise will come now. I'm saying no, it is not true in the current context at all. That together, everyone achieves more as a team concept is dead. Okay, so what is it? We will obviously try and discover after we have seen a lot of further slides to this regard. Okay, skills that you're seeing from a team perspective. Okay, so the very concept of a team has collapsed. You're looking at working and managing in a virtual environment, which none of us perhaps were prepared for. Organizations had this virtual environment, but not so formal. Earlier, if you said, I will work from home, the HR head of the organization cringed at you. If somebody said, I will work from home, you also were not happy because you wanted that physical presence of people. Okay, time management, it is kind of time immemorial. So time management will always be required. Okay, come to writing skills. It's not writing with a pen, but today communicating more effectively. Leading change. I mean, more than leading change, we are all seem to be following change because a e-Raila kind of a thing could have perhaps been conducted many years back because the technology was there. But it was a COVID that made us think in the direction of saying that, oh, why not a e-Raila? Okay, so we have, rather than lead change, we have followed change. But nevertheless, it's a great thing that we have done. Agility, again, required always. Okay, negotiation, again, it's changing, but that's what negotiation is. I'm not saying communication, I'm saying connect. Okay, so it's the way we connect with each other. I come to humility and patience, which is what positions of voluntary leadership teaches you. Okay, understand the word voluntary leadership. You only hold a position temporarily, but all of us are equal. Okay, so here is where I'm going to perhaps touch upon the topic of today in terms of hierarchy that we are talking about in organizations, and what sports perhaps brings us hierarchy, the change that sports has brought about as hierarchy. Okay, team building, obviously, interpersonal skills. Interpersonal skill itself has changed a great deal. That perhaps all old books on interpersonal skills are no longer valid. Okay, problem solving skills. I mean, problems will always be there. Solving them will be again tough, or solving them will be challenging always for people. And listening skills and leadership skills vary from time to time, but these also are very important. So to quickly kind of put this, working in a virtual environment, getting to connect, listening is the most important thing rather than just communicating. The problem in today's world is all of us are great communicators, but we are not good listeners. Okay, so I think if we improve our listening skills, that will be a far better thing for people to actually see. 74% of the earth has water. Water, obviously, because you've all been to school, you know, is H2O. You know what hydrogen individually is poison. Okay, oxygen is great. I mean, importance of oxygen, I need not stress. The last 1 month has taught us what the importance of oxygen is. But when H, that is two molecules of hydrogen, combine with a molecule of oxygen, you get water. Okay, so two disparate things come together to make a team. And what I'm trying to say is, water is the basis of life. Teams are the basis of life. Whether you like it, you don't like it, you may want to claim that you are a very individual person, you are very introverted, okay, and you have got 95%, 98%, all because of your scholarly abilities. There was a support system, there was a team. You were like the Formula One driver. The team was your parents, your peers, your brother, your sister, maybe other people, your teachers, okay, who helped you secure that and cooperated with you in your performance. So nothing happens alone. The team is almost like water. So what is team? Again, I go back to water as a team. Okay, so disparate things that we have. Military hierarchy is what organizations followed. Okay, World War II, and the same thing was brought into a organization in terms of uh, a major, a sergeant, a corporal, a lance corporal, whatever was the kind of colonel and all that, as a kind of a hierarchy, was the same hierarchy that perhaps came into the corporate world. Now, over a period of time, the hierarchy actually started to die, or rather crumble. What did this hierarchy get replaced by? And where did the exact inspiration for the crumbling hierarchy in teams come from? Okay, somewhere in 1930, there was a model called matrix model. Okay, in a matrix model, you reported horizontally and you reported vertically. Okay, come to think of it, it came in the corporate world sometime in 1980. Introduced in 1930. In US, it came in 1980. In India, it came by about 1990, where you had this matrix kind of a reporting model where there was the horizontal as well as the vertical. Vertical was the formality, horizontal was what people did when a game had to be played, and everything was a game, including what you did with your corporate world. So I'm saying that in sports, competition is intense. I have researched two areas in sports. I shall share those two areas to tell you what the uh, findings of that are. And in business also, I have researched a certain area about the global top 10 corporations of the world, And what does that show us? Okay, so corporations compete with business. Many workers are challenged to become online accessible day and night. I mean, lockdown has made work up. Okay, so people are now not no longer talking of a 9 to 5 job. People are now talking of a 9 to 9 job, and perhaps there is a WhatsApp message or an email that creeps in at 11. Okay, India, US, Hong Kong, Singapore, Middle East. So depending on different offices that you have and the daytime that varies, your day actually has become a 24 by 7. Okay, thanks to being connected. Now, where is sports and business linked? Okay, so I'm saying that in sports you focus on results. In sports you always look to improve performance, and in sports you do things as per situations, what we call as horses for courses. Okay, so when I say focus on result, it is about the concentration and the mission, overall mission that you have. When I say improve performance, it is always trying to look at excellence and optimization. When I say horses for courses, it is about versatility and being adaptable. Okay, so this is what the thing for sports is. And I'm just asking you, I'm not talking about business at all. Look at it from a point of view of a business, look at it from a point of view of an entrepreneur. Okay, and then kind of say that in business, don't we focus on results? In business, don't we focus on improving performance? In business, don't we look at horses for courses? Okay, depending on situation, kind of giving what people are doing and all that. Now, there's a formula for winning teams, and I'm saying winning teams. Okay, so teams is something that anybody can form. Six people getting together daily evening, have a cup of tea is a good team. Okay, four people in an office being made to sit inside and being asked to work on something, they're working on something as a routine. Okay, so that also. So when you are looking to plan a winning team as a leader, okay, following are the mantras that you should perhaps follow. Obviously a meaningful goal that you can kind of chart for yourself. So let's be very clear about what the goal is. As a Rotaract club, you may want to be the best club in your district. You may want to be the best club in your zone. You may want to be an active club. So depending on your situation, what your goal is. So a club that is perhaps defunct cannot immediately dream of becoming number one. I'm not saying they cannot become, but the dream has to be realistic. Okay, so the realistic is first year we shall get active, we shall get prominent, and then we shall kind of aim for the moon. Okay, second is obviously talent. So we always looking at talent, and I'm sure a lot of Rotary leaders here would agree with me in terms of when you sit to select your board, you're looking for the best talent. While you have 12 positions, 15 positions, or 20 positions in your board to be selected, and maybe 50 members on hand, you always look for the best talent, because as the leader, you want the best talent to support you. Okay, obviously there has to be leadership. There will be a Tharoorish word I shall introduce in the end, a Shashi Tharoor kind of a word, which you might not have heard, but very important for leadership. And there has to be the vision, the strategy, and the planning that you look for. Okay, so this is a formula for a winning team. Commitment, very important, because without commitment nothing happens, and the commitment of people is really a great thing that one can see. So when you see these factors that you can kind of identify, okay, you get a formula for a winning team. Constant feedback, okay, ears to the ground, and head on your shoulder, and also looking at what is happening, what's popular, what's not popular, and how good it is another very key thing that you have to look at. Confidence, okay, it kind of is something that we tend to lack, and we start thinking whether it is possible that we would be able to do it. There's that self doubt that comes in, okay, the negative thinking, that pessimism. Okay, you have to have utmost confidence to kind of come over the situation and be a believer that you can do it. Okay, then this is the group which I call as the chemistry. Okay, so the chemistry is very important, and this is what I would call as identity. See, today when I am forming a club or I am a president, I am wanting to build a winning team because I want to be recognized as the outstanding president or the best president. The secretary wants to be recognized as the best secretary. Every individual wants that identity. Our collectively, our club has to be recognized as the best club. Okay, so when we are doing all this, we are doing it for an identity. If we want to say things like, oh, I think if I made the semi final, that will be very good, that was your goal. Semi final was your winning. You have won. So don't crib the fact that you lost in the semi final. Your aim was to reach up to the semi finals. But if you said, I have to be the winner, you have to be the winner. There are no compromises. That's the identity. Okay, people remember winners, people forget the losers. The memory is very short. Okay. Now I'm going to give you a small case study which is about India, and to a lot of people, this is a very popular sport in India, which is about cricket. Okay, so here I will talk about having a dream, having a clear sense of purpose and meaning helps individuals and teams weather the inevitable ups and downs. Okay, roadblock, storms, disappointment, and crowd. So this person is Gary Kirsten from South Africa, the cricket coach of India. Okay, I am showing this specifically because this was the sixer that Mahendra Singh Dhoni, the captain of Indian cricket team, hit to make India win the World Cup. Okay, the best thing about this 2011 World Cup and why I'm kind of showing this immediately after the winning formula is that somewhere after 2007, in which India had a very poor performance of being eliminated in the first round, they did not qualify for the knockouts. Okay, almost from that day, or rather 6 months later, India had a T20 which they won, and there was the belief born that we should win the 2011 World Cup also. They prepared for the 2011 World Cup. They had that as a clear goal, and I'm sure if you go on YouTube and do a search on Gary Kirsten World Cup 2011, you'll be able to see many of those videos where people talk about India's preparations that happened for the World Cup. And yes, in the journey, India had a tied match with England. I think we lost to South Africa or West Indies in the league phase. Okay, qualifying looked slightly tough, and yet we were able to win the World Cup because there was a belief. Okay, here is another popular slide of FIFA World Cup since 1982. And you'll be very surprised to know that just five countries, have played against each other. Okay, 1982, it was Italy versus Germany. Okay, 1986, it was Argentina versus Germany. 1990, again Argentina versus Germany. 1994, it was Italy versus Brazil. 98, Brazil versus France. 2002, Brazil and Germany. 2006, France and Italy. 2010, there were two new teams that ever clashed, Spain and Netherlands. 2014, Argentina and Germany. 2018, France and Croatia. Okay, so why I'm kind of showing you this slide is that we have taken a sport like football and we have seen the teams that have excelled in football. Okay, just five teams. Spain won once. Spain qualified once and they won once. But otherwise, the five teams are the ones which have been fighting against each other, vying for the top honors. Okay, team properly built. Okay, why is it that no other team could kind of go and win the World Cup? Why just these five teams clashed at the summit in terms of saying that it's either Brazil, it's Argentina, it's Germany, it's France, or Italy? Nobody else. Once it has been Spain. And the other finalists were obviously Netherlands and Croatia. Netherlands in 2010 and Croatia in 2018. The other finalist that time was obviously France. Okay, so France we take as the elite club, which existed earlier itself as part of. So next time you bet on the World Cup, okay, remember those five teams. That's a tip from me, that it's one of those five teams that will win the World Cup. Okay, so it's France, Italy, Germany, Argentina, Brazil. Okay, if there is a sixth one, great. It will be topsy turvy, turning the tides in terms of a pattern that we are predicting. Okay, here, after talking about the sports side, I've come to the business side, and I have plotted the world's 500 largest companies, Fortune 500 largest companies. Okay, what you will see again is something very similar, where Walmart seems to be at the top. Okay, the 2 and 3 and 4, I mean, China Petroleum seems to be constantly 4 over the last many years. Okay, if you look at state grade, they seem to be jumping from 2 to 3. Sinopec Group jumping from 2 to 3. So this is studying businesses globally, and again, at the end of the day, like I said, it's performance. Okay, it's improvement. It is horses for courses. And because these companies are able to follow those three basic principles, the top 10 list you can see has not changed very majorly. Okay, there may be one or two corporations that have perhaps managed to enter the top 10. Otherwise, the top 10 corporation is just the same. You look at the growth from 27.6 trillion to 33.3 trillion in the last 5 years. Okay, 1.5 trillion in profits to 2.1 trillion. So 0.6 trillion in terms of profits that have really gone up. Now, the reason I'm showing you this business slide is to again take you back to what we perhaps saw here. Five champions. Okay, these five champions in football are very similar to the five champions or whatever. I mean, Walmart is the champion. There is no other champion other than Walmart here. But if I look at the number two, number three, number four, and number five, it was almost very similar. Okay, so people who work together will win, whether it is against complex football defenses or problems of modern society. So understand this as a very important aspect, that it is the mind to be thinking that, oh my God, my opposition has put a very strong defense, which means you're starting with a negative mindset. The team has perhaps accepted the things of status quo rather than challenging the status quo. Okay, so you have to look at working together in solving this problem. So the teamwork is basically you greater than I and we greater than me. Okay, so when you look at we greater than me, that's another very important characteristic we perhaps got, because when we looked at teams prior to 2000, there were a lot of individual performers that you could actually identify. Okay, I'm saying prior to 2000. If I talked about the World Cups, each of the football World Cups, I think there would be one star that we would essentially talk of. 1982 was perhaps Paolo Rossi. 1986 was Maradona. 1990 was Jurgen Klinsmann. Okay, 1994 was Bebeto. 1998 was Zidane. Okay, 2002 was Ronaldo. 2006 onwards, you don't have any individual that you can actually name. It may be difficult, but on the earlier individuals that I named, there may not be much of a debate. Okay, but if you try naming individuals, that itself says where you greater than I, we greater than me in terms of teamwork has actually caught up much more, and teamwork has become that much more relevant. Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. So that's what the team is all about. And here I now come to saying that what we said, that together everyone achieves more, is not valid. So what is valid? Before that, I will just take you through two quick things. That one is called as Edward de Bono's six thinking hats, and these hats are things that you wear on multiple occasions. It's not a single hat that you wear. Okay, so there is somebody who looks at a process. So a president who sits on the dais looks at the process, looks at the agenda. Okay, looks at all matters that need to be conducted. There are people in the members who have feelings that can be expressed. Okay, there are people in the members who caution on a new project that we need to bid or whatever. There are people who will tell you benefits of bidding for a project, or benefit of going for a project, or benefit of doing social service. There will be people who contribute with a green hat, with creativity. Okay, and there will be people who will go by facts. We have the money, we don't have the money, we can raise the money, we can't raise the money, and all those kind of aspects. So it's six thinking hats of Edward de Bono. Okay, and there is something called the six action shoes. Okay, so the one, earlier one was thinking, this one is action. So when we actually do this exercise, we ask people to wear one slipper or one shoe on one foot and another shoe on the other foot. So you're actually multitasking. While you're doing investigation thinking, wearing a grease sneaker, you could also be sensible and practical, or you could be the authority. Okay, if you're wearing pink slippers, which is relaxed and comfort, you may be looking at also being sensible and practical. Okay, orange gum boots, we all wear orange gum boots because when it is project time, when it is so many of activity time, etc., there are so many crises that come that, but it shouldn't be that all of us only wear the orange gum boot. We would wear, sometimes the president, obviously president, secretary, and some members of the board in a meeting would wear the formal, navy formal shoes because they are looking after the formal procedure and routine. Okay, so having said that, this is six action shoes. You can do a search on six action shoes, implement this, play a game in your club in terms of saying that we have a situation, what would we do to kind of uh, combat the situation. Okay, so and then people can say that I shall wear this kind of a slipper because I would need to be relaxed and comforting, or I would have to be authority. So probably the president wears a navy formal shoe and a purple riding boots. Okay, perhaps the directors will wear investigative thinking and being sensible and practical. Okay, perhaps the members want the relaxed and comforting thing. Okay, and of course occasionally wear the orange gum boot. So now I come to the final portion, which is where I say that what team is as per the new definition. And please, you can completely embed this in your mind. Okay, I had promised you about a Shashi Tharoor phase. Shashi Tharoor is a very famous politician in India, known for his complicated English. So I borrow this and say that cephalocaudal. Okay, that's the pronunciation. I hope I got it right. Okay, so this is the mantra for leadership, where it is called it cephalocaudal. Cephalo is the head, caudal is the tail. So it's always head that follows the tail. Okay, sorry, tail that follows the head, not head that follows the tail. Tail that follows the head. Okay, so the leader will head and the followers will follow the leader like a tail. That's the level of team that one should have. I mean, the Canadian geese and the V formation, we have heard about that, how the Canadian geese fly and what is the V formation. Okay, so here is where I'm saying that T is for trust, E is for engagement, A is for accomplishment, and M is for mutual. Okay, so together has become trust. Only if there is trust, there is a subscription to get into the team. Only if there is an engagement, there is further thing to associate with the team. Only if there is accomplishment, which is short goals or short victories that we kind of have as milestones, is where one is interested. And only if there is a mutual benefit in terms of saying that, oh, you will benefit out of this like this. Perhaps it's characteristic of today's generation of knowing what is mutual. Okay, so that team is no longer together, everyone achieves more. It is trust, engagement, accomplish, and mutually. Okay, so having said that, I think I have kind of let this open to questions. and then, or I can go ahead with my activity and then take the questions. Shall we take the questions first?
Yes, sir. We should go with the questions.
Yes, yes,
We have Roma Motwani from us.
yes.
Team Technicals, can you please unmute Roma Motwani?
Come again. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah.
Sir.
May I? May I go
Yeah.
ahead? Yeah. First of all, thank you, EILA team, for giving me opportunity to hear Mr. Sudarshan Srinivasan informative and insightful session. So, coming back to my question regarding team building, sir, I had a situation. So, whenever there is a discussion on a project topic, there is a difference in opinion, which is acceptable. But how to deal with the such situation where there are emotions involved with opinion like emotions like someone is so stubborn for their opinion, like there is no room for suggestion. Sometimes there is a lack of understanding from the other side.
Okay. See, that I think it cannot be a solution that I can give you across in terms of an answer. Okay, it comes over a period of time with tact. Now, these are mistakes that even we have committed as young presidents in Rotract. Okay, and I'm sure these are mistakes that even experienced people in Rotary would also be committing. Okay, so it's a tact over a period of time. It becomes what we call as a finesse. Okay, when I say finesse, it's like saying that, I mean, I can play cricket, I can hit a square drive, I can hit a cover drive, but when you see that cover drive out of a leader or out of a seasoned batsman, it's like, wow, that's great. Okay, so the same way, it's a journey of being seasoned. Okay, so those kind of things will keep happening, but yes, you have to learn to kind of tell them, focus on the goal, at least specify your goal at the start. What do you want to do? Okay, when you don't specify the goal, that is when emotions will perhaps come in. And when emotions come in, it is important for you to again tell them that I appreciate your emotions, but let's get back to the road and let's get back to reaching the goal.
Okay, for sure, before starting any discussion, I will specify the goal and accept the emotion as they are coming. Yeah,
Yes.
thank you. Thank you.
Guys, if you have any further questions, please raise your hand. This is a wonderful opportunity to have your doubts solved with the best person who can advise you. If we have no doubts, we'll further continue towards the activity. Sir, we have a question in the chat box from Karina Jeswani. How to grow in confidence?
How to grow
your confidence? Yeah.
How to grow your confidence? Well, face situations. Sometimes take simulations or something like that. When I say simulations, is speak. See, many people consider public speaking as confidence. So it is not just public speaking alone. It's so many other things. But take every opportunity where you can perhaps test yourself and then jump onto the next bigger opportunity. I think earlier there was a DGN who came and said what happened in Rotract and how we went about Rotract and all that. Very interesting journey. Okay, same way for us. I mean, we have committed our mistakes. We have grown in confidence. And again, it's like saying that how did the plant grow? The plant just grew. The plant just gave flowers. Okay, so it is something so gradual that you can't describe how something really grew. So confidence is something like that. You will get it when you face it. I mean, there was a time when there used to be a butterfly in my stomach whenever I went to the stage. Okay, I won so many debates and elocutions for my college. the butterfly is still there. Even today, when I came for the session and before the session started, there was that butterfly in my stomach. But I learned to conquer that butterfly. Okay. If I said, oh my God, and I fumbled in front of a global audience, people would have thought, what kind of a speaker have you called? Okay, but that is the confidence of conquering that butterfly in your stomach. It was a public speaking experience. Okay. Uh, Doing a project, there is this confidence of, or this lack of confidence of, oh my God, will my project be successful? Okay, why is it not successful? Following up with people, having great relationships, and calling them over is what actually lets you, tasting that successes gives you that confidence, and tasting failure gives you bigger confidence if you learn from it.
So Karina, I hope your doubt was solved and it will help you further. So we have just one more doubt in the one more question in the chat box.
Yes.
What quality of leadership is helping to manage a team, like aggressive or cool?
What quality of leadership?
Is helping to manage a team,
Huh.
like aggressive or cool? So you have to be aggressive or cool while being a leader. I guess that's
No,
the
see,
question.
aggression never helps, because the first thing when you're aggressive is you will lose trust. Okay, aggression is, I will say, assertiveness is required, not aggression. You have to be assertive, not aggressive. Aggressive is always seen as a very negative quality, and a person is aggressive when he is in danger. Because if I am perhaps trying to be aggressive right now, it is because something is lacking in me, and hence I'm trying to be aggressive. Or something did not happen as per my expectation, hence I'm trying to be aggressive. The other person is perhaps going to listen to that aggression, okay, and ignore. So you will become a leader who, because of an aggressive style, yes, aggression is required, but it is like an atom bomb. Okay, use it only when very very necessary. You cannot use aggression for anything and everything.
So due to constraints of time, we won't be able to tackle any more doubts. So can we move on towards our activity?
Yes, yes. So I shall be showing you some figures, or you can just look at it and kind of think of which figure you like the most. Okay, it will tell you your preference, your nature. Okay, so that is what the exercise is about. Select a shape below that appeals to you most, and then we'll scroll down to read about your personality. Okay, and you will see here, I guess, for the sake of the fun activity, I think whatever figure you like, you could just put it on the chat box. You will get to see the diversity of what people like, and you'll also come to the personality of people that are. This is the first figure. Okay, if you liked it, you can mark one. You can see all the 9 figures before you mark. There are 9 figures that come by. This is the second figure. This is the third figure. The fourth. The fifth. The sixth. The seventh. The eighth. And this is the ninth. Okay, so I will give you a summary of the 9 figures. So here it is. You can quickly have a look at all the 9 figures that came by. Okay, the bottom portion is below 4 is 7, below 5 is 8, and below 6 is 9. So you can quickly think of the preference of what you think is your figure. So are there responses in the chat?
There are no such responses in the chat, but I'm pretty sure that people have noted down in their minds.
Okay. Okay.
Just as I have.
Okay, so the chat is, so as long as people have noted down, I shall proceed with the next part of the those who selected one. Okay, they are reflective, introspective, and sensitive set of people. Okay, so these are the three qualities that describe for those who selected this particular figure. Out of the 9 figures that you had, if you selected figure 1, okay, you're a reflective, introspective, and a sensitive person. Okay, you come to grips more frequently and thoroughly with yourself, your environment, than do most people. You detest superficiality. You'd rather be alone than have enough to suffer through small talk. Your relationship with your friends are highly intensive, which gives you the inner tranquility and harmony that you need in order to feel good. Okay, so however, given the problem that you are looking at, okay, you can kind of go on for a long time without getting bored. So that was figure 1. Figure 2, unfettered, independent, and unconventional. Okay, so this is what is your personality. Okay, so you demand free, unattached life for yourself that allows you to determine your own course. You have an artistic bent in your work and leisure activities. Your urge for freedom sometimes causes you to exactly do opposite of what's expected of you. Your lifestyle is highly individualistic. You would never blindly imitate what's in, on the contrary. Okay, you seek according to your own ideas and conviction, if this means even swimming against the tide. So, typically, a rebel kind of an attitude. So, this is the second. Now, the third one is dynamic, active, and extroverted. Okay, so if you went for the third one, you're dynamic, active, and extroverted, quite willing to take certain risks, make a strong commitment in exchange for interesting and varied work. Okay, routine tends to have paralyzing effect on you. Okay, what you like most is able to play an active role in events. Okay, and in doing so, your initiative is highly pronounced. Okay, this is the fourth thing. So, if you, this is about you being down to earth, a very well balanced and harmonious person. Uh, you value natural style, style and love that is uncomplicated. People admire you because your both feet planted firmly on the ground and they can depend on you. You give those who are close to you your security and space. Perceived as being warm and human, you reject everything that is garish and trite. You tend to be skeptical towards the whims of fashion trends. For your clothing has to be practical and unobtrusively elegant. Okay, so people who went for 5, uh, professional, pragmatic, and self assured, people who take charge of life, place less faith in luck and in your own deeds, solve problems in a practical, uncomplicated manner, take a realistic view of things, tackle them without wavering. You're given a great deal of responsibility because you can be depended upon. Your pronounced strength of will projects your self assurance. You're never fully satisfied until you've accomplished your ideas. Those who selected 6, they are peaceful, discreet, and non aggressive people. Personality, okay, easygoing yet discreet, make friends effortlessly yet enjoy your privacy and independence, like to get away from it all and be alone from time to time, contemplate the meaning of life and enjoy yourself. You need space, so you escape your beautiful hideaways, but you are not a loner. You are at peace with yourself and the world. You appreciate what the world has to offer. This is 7. Carefree, playful, cheerful. I'm sure a lot of you would have got number 7. Okay, you love a free and spontaneous life. Uh, Attempt to enjoy it to the fullest in accordance with motto you live only once. You're curious and open about everything new. You thrive for change. Nothing is worse than when you feel tied down. Your experience your environment as being versatile is always for a surprise. Okay, this is 8. Romantic, dreamy, and emotional. A very sensitive person, refuse to view things only from sober, rational standpoint. What your feelings tell you is just as important to you. It's important to have dreams in life too. You reject people who spawn romanticism and are guided only by rationality. You refuse to let anything confine the rich variety of your moods and emotions. So this is analytical, trustworthy, self-assured. Okay. So you found your own personal style, which is elegant and exclusive, free of the whims of fashion. Your ideal upon which you base your life is cultured pleasure. You value a certain level of culture on the part of people with whom you associate. Culture plays a special role in your life. You like to surround yourself with little gems that you discover wherever they are overlooked by others. Your momentary sensitivity represents that which is of high quality and durable. Okay, so uh, I will just go back for a quick recap on to. So if you have seen these 9 figures, I think these 9 figures itself tell you a lot about what the patterns are and how you have perhaps selected the patterns. Okay, so you had 7 as being carefree, playful. Okay, so you look at that particular thing and you are able to get the carefree, playful part into 7. Okay, when you look at 9, that looks very rational, that looks a pattern. So does 5 also look like a pattern that has been created. Okay, so this is, I hope you have got to know a bit about your personality by looking through something like this. I think that's it. Thank you so much. I take this opportunity to thank Rotarian Lalit Manek for having invited me and the respective Rotary clubs for kind of arranging this wonderful session. It felt very great interacting or e-interacting with youngsters and sharing thoughts about teams, because team building itself has changed. Okay, and hence that's what is a thing that we have to look at in terms of what is the modern methods of team building.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Dr. Yes, sir. Thank you, Dr. Rotarian Sudarshan Srinivasan, sir. That was really a very deep insight towards team building. That is a very essential quality of leadership. So the presentation that you have brought with us today, and even the knowledge that you have brought, that you have presented, was really to the point. So a very practical approach, like something that I have rarely seen. And even the activity, it brings me immense pleasure that different global leaders that we have in this session bring so many different activities on to this platform. Like, this is kind of rare activity where individuals can really think about themselves, can really know more about themselves. Like, I would rather believe in this activity of yours than zodiac sense to actually get into myself. So really, thank you, DRR, PDRR, Roti and Sudarshan Srinivasan sir, for joining with us today. It was really valuable. Your presence was really valuable. And we have this certificate of appreciation for you today in honor of your presence. So it will be very shortly emailed to you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Anil, you should read it out.
Yes, sir. I'll read this certificate of appreciation. This is presented to PDRR Rotarian Sudarshan Srinivasan. Words cannot measure the depth of gratitude and appreciation. Your presence is like fragrance, and the knowledge you shared enrich and reach the gathering permanently. A lot of thanks for being with us. We truly mean this, sir.
Thank you.
Yes,
And
Sudarshan.
hi to Gul Advani also. I think it's
Yeah,